Hey guys, it's late afternoon. It's been a long day of work, puttering on the farm, lots of shenanigans, had a lot of fun. Now it's time for some lemonade. Cheers.
Just lemonade.
Yeah, just lemonade.
This
That's
is a
exactly
darker brewed lemonade. Doesn't have Jack Daniels in it.
Not at all. That would be it's taboo.
Don't film and drink.
But we were talking, and I thought, it'd be really appropriate. We've kind of dabbled on a little bit of some of the stories that of Rick and how he got started with Tally-M Imports in Tallahassee, Florida, in his college days. But maybe I thought it'd be time that we can kind of give you guys more of a fuller story of how everything that we've been seeing today, how it all came to be. And that would be Florida Exotic Tropical Fish Sales.
Florida Exotic Fish Sales. Drop the tropical.
They're
anyway,
not tropical at all.
Right. Well, I'll give you my brief history. Hobbyists started a little tank at 12, kept it up right through high school, and then went off to college, had tanks in my house. Made a lot of money collecting reptiles, snakes, salamanders at night, roaming the backwoods of Tallahassee, parts of Georgia. And then really kind of got into more of the fish and enjoyed them, and really started enjoying the African cichlids, and was able to get at the time a Rhodus, the Travasi type, a polystigma, maybe one other type of African.
That was really all.
That was all that was available. And they were in every shop had them, Travasi and whatever. But anyway, we got bored with that, so my brother Andy and I decided that we would contact the only supplier at the time, which was Peter Davies in Africa. So we wrote him a letter. He said, "Sure, I'll send you some fish." Sent us 12 boxes. Came over here on British Air. Landed in Miami Saturday night. Picked up Eastern Airlines. Hit Tallahassee. This time we started, we had 2 apartments, so our bedrooms were stripped of everything but fish tanks. So we had tons of fish tanks in our bedroom. So we slept out in the living room. Each of us did. So we did those fish, and of course then we got some really great fish for our tanks, but of course we had a lot left over. So we started selling them. And it worked out pretty good with 2 guys in college. We were selling them, and we moved from there to a small warehouse on Lake Bradford Road, and probably had about 200 tanks in there, and started importing on a pretty regular basis.
This is like 70, 71?
No, this was 67 I graduated high school. This was probably, 71, 72. So we did that for several years, and then when we graduated, and part of the problem was routinely the fish would miss the flight.
Oh, yeah.
And so we'd have to jump in, we'd rent a van, jump in it, ride, go down to South Florida, pick up the fish, sometime we auctionate, drive them back to Tallahassee, unload them Sunday, and now we're in school Monday morning, taking classes. And then when they came in, on regular nights, we would have, like I said earlier, we had the friends who would help us pick up. There would be a big yahoo. Several cars going to the airport, Eastern, everybody bringing 6 cartons back to the warehouse, unloading, and having a night. It was a nice time, and they still remember it. But then about 1974, we decided, well, we graduated, we'd been to Africa once, that we would move to a location down here where we wouldn't have to deal with the long, and there was no reason to stay in Tallahassee. It was hard to ship fish, so we moved to this place in 1974. This was just an old warehouse and a house up front, and the guy who owned it was a master aluminum welder. Just incredible.
How big is
This
this?
5 acres.
5 acres.
330 by 660. Nothing here, fish-wise. So we basically had a warehouse. That's what we were doing. We were importing fish from Africa. Then we were also, for about a 2-year period, we did saltwater plus freshwater, and we started bringing in Far East fish, doing that too. So we were pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So saltwater was
Supplying stores.
Yeah. We had fish from the Keys. We had bringing in saltwater fish, but about 1976, around then, my brother decided that he had enough of this, and he left for Alaska, went as far as you could go.
Not to keep fishing again.
Right. And then he went up there and started working, did very well up there. So I kept it here, and I decided to start doing actual fish farm. So I started having ponds dug. They were basically 20 foot by 40 foot with a walkway.
Digging here is not digging like what people
No,
think
no,
digging.
no. Digging here is 1.5 inches of topsoil. It's almost like concrete. It's just solid coral.
Yeah.
So you
I've
know,
seen it where they've cut steps or ramps in. They can do anything you want.
Yeah, so it's a backhoe, you know, and just clawing at it and making it. Then what we would do is we would coat it with just pure Portland cement, no rocks. Throw it up against the side, turn the water on, and with all the calcium in the water, in 3 months it was solid. And you could but we put fish in it immediately as soon as the Portland cured. So I had probably 50, 60 ponds
In
back
the ground.
there.
Yeah, in ground.
But we had a series of years where we had flooding. 87 was a bad one, and then a couple more. And when we flooded, the fish would all move together. You'd be sorting. Plus, it was a constant battle with toads.
The marine toad.
The marine toads.
That's going to be a separate video coming up down the road. That's
Yeah.
a big problem down in South Florida is the bufo marine toad.
Yeah, and what they do is they, as soon as spring comes and right up through September, October, November, they're out here breeding, and they lay these long stringers of eggs in the ponds. And the problem is the same poison that's on their
On the toads, the
toads that
tadpoles,
kill the
the
dogs
eggs.
and everything is in the eggs, and the fish eat them, and they do a neurotoxin to death. So you can lose 1,000 fish. So we were out here nightly gunning them down.
Yeah.
And don't feel bad about them.
They're non-endemic.
They're horrible. So I decided, plus I decided about 1986 to start coming above ground. So I started building these vaults, and what these vaults are is actually 4 pieces of each side, 4 pieces of plywood. If you look closely, you'd see holes punched, and that's where a bolt goes through and a spacer to get your distance. And we would just pour the base of one, and then the next time we'd pour the top part in another base.
But you built frames and then poured.
Yeah, we had the frame. They just do it 4 frames for each side, and we built these things. This one right here is 16 by 16. It's probably 5,000 gallons of water. I have everything else. We call this place kind of a mud dauber nest because you can see ring tanks, which these are just parts of silos.
Yeah.
But they're fast. You can put them in. You can put 5 of them in a day. Just bolt, bolt, bolt. So when we needed more space, we did that. But the majority are the concrete vaults, and it got me above ground. Saved my fish from the toads.
I always thought it was one of the hurricanes that made you force to ground. I wasn't aware it was just the toads.
The toads and the flooding.
Yeah.
But the advantage of
flooding caused mixing of fish,
Right.
and then they'd hybridize.
Right. Oh well, not only that, but you'd have, 4-inch haps moving into an 1.5 inch in Boona tank, and that's pretty much all she wrote.
They were happy.
Oh yeah. But another big thing that happened that changed my life was Hurricane Andrew in 1992, and nothing had ever happened out here like that. We were hurricane free for 20 years, and that thing pulled through, and it only lasted 5 hours, but it changed the whole, everything was gone.
Yeah.
But the vaults were okay. But all the piping, it was ripped out, everything was ripped out.
Anything that wasn't solid concrete, bolt
Gone.
right to the ground, just gone.
Gone. So, but I was very fortunate. Within 5 days, I was able to obtain a small diesel water pump because we didn't have power here for 47 days. It took 47 days because there was no telephone poles.
Yeah.
But at that time, the farm was basically way over there.
Yeah.
Everything from probably 2 or 3 bigger vaults over there.
Every
down.
single time I've come,
It's
it's grown.
great.
Every time
Yeah.
I come down,
Yeah.
year after year, there's more.
I swear I'll never do it, but we keep expanding. And all that's new over there. So we expanded. So, but I learned from that. So I'm like a weirdo in that I've got a giant diesel.
You have 2 or 3 fail safes for everything that could happen.
Big giant diesel generator there. Behind the warehouse, I have a diesel water pump, and right over here, I have a brand new diesel water pump that's going to go in there. That's going to run. It's going to be 3 systems. Irma came 2 years ago. Wasn't as powerful a storm, but it stayed here for 24, 30 hours. So it actually caused as much or much more damage. And fish-wise, it caused more damage than Andrew because it actually blew pipes out, and this whole place was covered with fish. Took all the shade cloth down. That's
just all the debris, not even debris from here. It could be debris from miles away would be dumped here.
And by the way, if you ever get an Andrew booking, take a look at one of the pictures. It's a palm tree, 25 foot up.
Yeah,
it's got a post shot through it. Now that's not a pointed post. That's a flat 1x3 post. They figured it had to be going 200 something miles an hour to go through that palm tree. That's a mile away from here.
Yeah. They've cut that tree down now because all the tourists.
Yeah, they had so many tourists in their yard, they cut it down.
But you type on the internet, you type in board through palm tree, that tree comes up.
But anyway, I was here on the farm with Tony, the guy who's been with me for many years, and we sent our families up the road. And we came out during the eye, because it went right over, and we said, this isn't bad at all. And then we went back in, and then the second part came, and then, I mean, you could feel stuff just pounding the walls. I mean, it was, and you could see the walls moving. So we moved.
But these houses, most of your shelters, like I'm from Canada, everything's built out of plywood and wood and stuff. But all these shelters, your houses and everything like that, are all built out of full concrete block, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And this house up here was an old Florida house, and it was built out of the roof was built out of a certain type of Florida pine. If you want to go up there and put a nail in it, you have to drill it first. It's so hard. If you take a nail and hit it with a hammer, it just ping. I mean, it's some crazy what they used to have. But anyway, we got through that. We got out the next morning, drove all the way to West Palm Beach, bought every piece of plywood, PVC we could, rushed down here, and at 1 o'clock in the morning the next day, we had water
everywhere?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was almost like a miracle thing. We had two piece of crap $115 Pacer water pumps, plastic, 5, 4,
whatever you could get. Yeah.
Right, and we had those running the farm. The day I got my diesel hooked up, we were still running them. They both seized up. When the guy started the diesel, but you'd walk out there at night to change the oil because they were going about 2 hours. You'd have to go out there and gas them and everything, and they'd be glowing. They were so hot. But they lasted 5 days. The guy who came to set my diesel up cranked the diesel up. We went over to try to start them just to see what happened. They were both frozen.
Yeah.
What the heck? So anyway, that's changed my whole philosophy on the farm. When we went to safety, take care. I mean, I'm responsible for all these fish, so we do the best we can. So anyway, Florida Exotic really started in 1974 when my brother left. So that's when I started that. So we've been here forever. Tamela, I've been married 38 years. So she was happy-go-lucky working at the hospital, being happy, and I brought her here. And
she's still here.
She's still here, but she does an incredible job. She is our Tanganyikan shell dweller, egg layer expert.
She's the breeder. She does it all.
She does it all. So, and I do Tanganyikan mouth brooders and specialty haps, and everybody has a job.
Yeah.
This is my area. This is Salvador's area, let's say. This is Tony's area. I was telling Austin, I used to know every fish out there.
Now you don't.
I was out there more with you guys in the last 3 days than I've been out 2 days. It felt like 3 days or 4 since you've been here. But then I was in the last 2 months, 3 months. Because I don't have time. I'm here.
Yeah.
So anyway, Florida Exotic's kind of evolved into what it is, and we specialize our whole time in it. Peacock's haps are one of our specialties. Now Tanganyikans are our specialty. And we've got I've got a loyal base of customers. I don't have a lot of them, but they're loyal to me. They're wonderful people. I've got customers I've had since the first shipment of Africa. The Daytona Aquarium, for example, Cichlid World up north in Detroit. But Daytona, I dealt with Joan Phillips, and then she gave it over to Gary, her nephew, and now it's being run by Gary's son-in-law, Billy. That's
Three
since,
generations.
That's since 1971 when we drove. We talked during taking fish. We drove from Tallahassee to Daytona and dropped off there.
Yep.
And I've got customers like that, so I'm very fortunate.
Yep.
But that's basically what this place is all about.
Yep. It's still fun, isn't it?
And parts of this are still a
Parts of
blast to
it.
me. A
Parts
blast,
of it.
an absolute blast. I mean, for example, all the employees are gone.
Yep.
So you would find me maybe while they're here inside, they're working the computer, working price, and working this because I find myself doing more and more of that.
Yep.
But now when they're gone, you might find me out here doing what I like, is messing with the fish I like.
Yep.
With no one asking me questions and just enjoying it. I mean, my business has changed from picking up the phone and taking an order on the phone, give me 12 of this and 10 of this, to where I've got customers, I only speak to them through emails. Take an order, boom, time.
And you can do the email 11 o'clock at night if you have to, right?
Yep,
You know,
yep,
it's a lot easier. It gives you frees up your time to go watch stuff,
Yep.
take care of stuff.
yep. So that's what it's been a wonderful, as far as I'm concerned, it's been a wonderful experience. And you know, I'm not ready to quit. I wish I was younger, but I'm not ready to quit yet.
Well, you still got 40, 50 years ahead of you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. My dad lived 102. So.
Yeah. There you got it, guys. Rick Biro.
Is that good?
You did awesome.
Good.